Who?
I think it's so vitally important to have an established group and network like Dubuque in this area, because even though I think the Dubuque community has become gradually more progressive over time, I still think that there are a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings that surround the LGBTQ plus community. And I mean, even nationally, I mean, we have come leaps and bounds, but I mean, even in our own country, there are still states that are rigorously introducing legislation that is specifically targeting this population, and people are struggling against discrimination and opportunities for equal rights. So I think anything that we can do within our own community to help strengthen these movements and also raise awareness is extremely beneficial. The other thing too is, unfortunately, the LGBTQ plus community is a population at risk. And so statistically, you can see that this is a group of people that are impacted by higher rates of violence, homelessness, substance abuse, suicide, and other health disparities. And so that's why I think it is so important to have a strong outlet that is available to provide education and support. The world is actually a very different place growing up here than it was when I was growing up in this area 15, 20 plus years ago. So, I mean, imagine a time, if you will, of no cell phones, no personal computers, no social media. So really it was kind of isolated. We really lacked the resources and a lot of the opportunities to connect with people like you have today. So I honestly think that that is a real contributing factor why many people left this community, because we didn't really have a whole lot to offer. And I always think that there was an established, LGBT community. I mean, there always has been, but really at the time it wasn't viewed as a respected authority in the public eye. And not because of anything that was organized at that time. It was really just because still the general mentality of people was really heavily shrouded in discrimination and unacceptance. So if you belong to a certain group or organization or affiliation, unfortunately you're just kind of seen as an outsider, kind of an outcast. And definitely no resources for the youth at that time. Sadly, it was kind of probably the only social gatherings occurred in bars. So, we'd meet at this designated place, we'd meet there, but it wasn't really available to anyone under the age of 21, unless you snuck in, but that's a different story. But, when I look back in retrospect, I think that there was a lot of challenges. Even myself, I can safely say that I experienced bullying and ridicule just because I was different. And I'm cisgendered and essentially very privileged in a lot of aspects. So I think the fact that I had those experiences really emphasizes and punctuates the point that so many of my friends and peers and people who identified on that LGBTQ spectrum also had varying degrees of hardship during that time. And of course, this is a time when the schools didn't have the safe zones or the anti-bullying campaigns like they do now. So there really were some struggles. I can say though safely that we didn't have it as bad as those in generations before us, because it really was a time where there was sort of a dawning and awakening, where people were gradually becoming more open-minded and accepting. And you could really see that sort of transpire in the media too. Now, this was a time where celebrities and musicians and television talk show hosts, one by one, were actually coming out. And maybe there had always been speculation about them, but never that positive declaration of, this is who I am, this is my life, and it's okay. And really, when you look back, you can realize how brave that was at the time and how validating it was for people who were still, living in secrecy or living in fear, because now this public person, this respected person, has come out and said, yeah, I'm normal, it's healthy, and I'm totally okay. So I think that was amazing to sort of bear witness to that, those changes. And honestly, I feel very grateful to have experienced that in my lifetime, and I'm still so very excited about all the changes that I know are yet to come.